With me today is Ramesh Gulati.
Thank you, George. Again, hey, this is our third. Sir, we're going to talk about it. Well, again, it's almost, I spent two temper. We learned a lot there. I spent almost 10 years. You know, those days, companies used to had a pension plan. Can you, I mean, I didn't know. I knew it, but I forgot about it. I spent 9.5 years with them, and somehow they kept me on their roll. I didn't realize for 10 years because I was good to them or whatever. And then they started tracking me because they had a paycheck, pension check coming. Finally, they tracked me down and I'm getting my $200 check every
Nice.
month. I cannot believe it. But those are good days when people had a pension. Now we don't have pension, but mostly have 401k.
Yeah.
But those old
But you
good
know what
days.
else we don't have? Loyalty to the company anymore.
That's right.
That's gone, right?
That's gone. Yeah.
We talk about Gen Z and what's happening now, and we complain that kids are they come in and they only spend 2 years and they leave. Well, no offense, but every company on the planet that got rid of their pension, you asked for this.
That's right. Well,
You asked for it.
yeah, yeah. So, well, anyway, so after those 10 years with True Temper and couldn't take snow anymore with the family, we had to move south. We moved south and we found a job. Luckily, I was lucky to find a job with a carrier air conditioning in McMinnville, Tennessee, about 60 miles south of Nashville. Well, it was a good job as a process manager and making improvements. After I started working there, making some improvements, good to know, and all those kind of things, then learn hard way. This management move, they're going to close down that plant. They're going to move some part of that operation to South Texas and some Mexico and other places. And when I got wind of that, so I said, hey, I don't know, do I want to move something? Fortunately for me, Arnott Engineering Development Center or Complex ADC was looking for a reliability engineer. And they were looking all over the place, and I was living right there. So my neighbor told me, hey, they're looking for something. So what did you call this guy? So I called, and my current manager, Dick Smith. So I called, say, hey, you guys are hiring. I'm here. Maybe there's some I mean, we have a proper what you're looking. I have that capability or something. So he called me. Yeah, come on over. And they were in fact advertising Wall Street and other places. So we talked, and we said, okay, looks like good. And then question came. I had done during my again. I was learning also during Cleveland. I did my master in industry engineering. I did that, which was necessary. Hey, we have to learn also education wise. Learning experience on the floor is one thing, but learning some new things from there is important too. So I had a degree master from Cleveland State, Ohio. There's a Cleveland in Ohio also, but they don't have a university there. So somehow their HR departments were looking, hey, how come he has a degree from Cleveland? And they forgot there's another in Ohio. Well, anyway, Val, I got the job as a reliability and engineer there, so I started job. That was great job. I thought I'm going to last 5, 10 years. It was so interesting. That place was interesting. And then I lasted there for 34 years and learned a lot. Learned a lot. You know, first two, three places I was in Foundry Forge plant and in Bethlehem Street in Buffalo and True Temper. Again, I was going different places. And over there, I learned culture plays a big role. At this place where I joined, boy, culture. One of the greatest thing was there, which is a handicap to all guys, is hey, we are unique. Person who hired me, my manager, Dick Smith, his boss, was really involved. He wanted a reliability person to join. Dr. John Harton, our director. And I had several talks with him. And John and all his directors, all everybody management, we are unique. Yes, ADC is unique, what we produce. But they thought that equipment, everything is unique too. And the guys on the floor said, oh, we are doing great. And give you a little bit more background also. Most of this company, Air Force and NASA, what they do is they hire contractor to operate the facility. And our company, Swordrop, that time, and later became Jacobs, was operating, maintaining contractor. They were operating, maintaining the whole facility. You name it, we had it. We were maintaining houses. We had our own lake. We had our power plant. Again, not the steam plant. Power we were getting from TVA. So, and we were, I mean, this was a great place. And this was not an Air Force base to speak. It was a more industrial place where we are testing equipment will create condition as a airplane or rocket or whatever you have is doing this job. We'll test them on the at Earth, to speak, and we create those conditions. Creating those conditions like we have to create a minus 300-degree temperature in the room where we are testing a product as is going through, or 800-degree hot, 800-degree hot or something, or 2000 degree or whatever. We'll create those conditions, and create those conditions we have all kind of equipment. And some of our equipment came from World War II, from Germany. To give you a little bit more, that this place was built after World War II, that hey, and we got some of the equipment, and we had to build this place so we can test them as Germans were far ahead of us, some of these things. So, hey, I was part of that group, and as a first reliability engineer, I wanted data. You won't believe how much problem we had to get the data. Because we were in silos. Imagine you got a motor, gearbox, compressor. Motor is operate, maintained by somebody else, some other contractor. Compressor by somebody else. Data is collected by somebody else. And getting all this data was a big challenge. Now, let me get back to my boss. Culture, we are unique. So we thought, how I'm going to change that? So I had to get my friends from the industry. And one of my person I came to know, Dr. Marvin Mondale. He was the first IE back in 20s or 30s. He got his degree from Iowa State or somewhere. And he spent about 20 years in Japan. He got married there, then he moved back here. So I came to know through my industry engineering group. So God called him, Marvin, come out of our place. So we start talking. He started talking to my director, John. So John was started telling him, hey, we got this largest motor, 83,000 horsepower. We got this unique equipment, blah, blah, blah. So I said, John, I've been to chicken farm. I've seen the motor. I've been to steel mill. I've been to here. I've been to here. A motor is a motor is a motor. It rotates with a certain torque. Yeah, you got a little bit big one. We got, other places a little small one, maybe 5 horse, 20 horse, or 1 horse. You got, yeah, 30,000, 60,000. It's okay. But they do the same thing. What's unique about them? What you produce, yes, unique. I can agree that, but your equipment are same. Your heat exchanger, your steam plant, all these are not unique. What they produce may be unique or final product. Your data. Yes, I agree. So what a point is, I have to deploy these kind of, bring people from outside, talk to my management, even including the Air Force and Don Nyman. I got him one time, he was back in early 90s. I got gathered all the management people, including Air Force, talk to them what the industry is doing it. Point is culture. So it took me 8, 10 years to build, change that culture. Change that culture, have been unique. And you have to go from the bottom to up because craft guys also, they thought, oh, we are unique. We are doing great. Why we have to change? Initially that getting a data from 4 different people or different groups, it was a challenge. Finally, I got it, but it was not easy. And as started working on it more, collecting the data, we had to design our own collection system. We had a PM, CMMS system. What CMMS system? Well, they called it CMMS system. It was only scheduling system. Schedule comes out, we had to do PM on this. That's it. And no record was there what we did on it. So that was another issue. Hey, we have to get a new CMMS system which can do the whole 9 yards. So there's a lot of challenge. I mean, this was a place, every place I took a step, there was a new opportunity to improve. So I started as a reliability engineer, project manager, reliability project manager, and then started industry engineering group, and then became reliability manager. So all different roles as we are growing, educating, training people, and put a new CMMS system with the help of Air Force. I mean, they came in, they started learning from us too. Hey, we have to do some of this thing. So it took many years. Again, I thought I'm going to last 5, 10 years. There was another instance. And this is a kind of I got to know Mac Smith, the great, RCM guy. There were only 2 guys, Mac Smith and John Mowbray. John Mowbray worked from England, from that side, and Mac Smith worked from mostly industrial, this side of the house, U.S. mostly. And I became friend. I met him in 1984, San Francisco. I remember him going RAM conference, met him. So I called him a couple of times. He came to our place, so we started working on RCM. And back in 86, 88 time frame, failed. I tried second time, failed because didn't have a right culture, couldn't get right support from the management. It's an interesting story. I had my boss, great guy, director, and Paul. And so I told Paul, again, he gave me kind of free hand, go whatever you are. Paul has a counterpart in the Air Force side, Dick. So I talked to Dick. I thought maybe Dick can help me. It's a background. So my boss, he's so busy doing something. Maybe I'll go to Dick. He'll, through Air Force, influence some of people, operation people, some other people who can help me to do this RCM process. Max Smith that time was doing a project at TVA Cumberland plant, I remember, which is from our about hour and a half drive from our place. So I made arrangement to go there, talk to Max Smith and talk to TVA guy. So I talked to my boss counterpart, Dick. So hey, let's go there, learn how they are doing this. Because Mac is pretty happy what he thinks they are doing good job. So one day we arranged a trip. So Dick took a couple of his guys. I took my couple of guys. And we drove to Clarksville, Cumberland. So on the way, I was talking to Dick. I said, Dick, we got this issue. I'm not getting help from operation. I'm not getting from design. I'm not getting help this. So I was telling him this thing. He said, yeah, yeah. He was, yeah, okay. So we went there. We talked to operation people. Hey, why your operators are involved in RCM process? We talked to maintenance guys. We talked to design group. So we talked the whole day with different group of people, learned how they're doing it. Great. On the way back, we talked a little bit. It was, I mean, again, the whole day, so we got back home. So a couple of days later, I got a call from my boss. I said, Ramesh, did you took Dick somewhere? I said, Paul, you know I took him, TVA. We want to see how they're doing RCM, how they can help us. Boy, think the way I was visualizing, I'm going to some help from Dick and people going to help me to do my RCM program. Boy, that was a big lesson learned. Paul tells me, say, you are never going to take Dick anywhere. Oh boy, I said, Paul, tell me what happened was. What happened was, Dick with his loud mouth, I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, he and I go really get along. After that, I'll tell you what happened there, how we became a so good friend. So he said, you're never going to take him. So what happened? What happened was, Dick took my boss on the carpet. He said, Paul, your guys are not doing this, not doing thing. He made things in reverse that your guys, TVA is doing so good job here, there, what they are doing. Your guys are not doing it.
Yeah. Instead of help, he just held you accountable. Why isn't it done already? Right.
Excuse me. So I realized I got problem. My boss doesn't understand fully what RCM we are doing it. Dick doesn't understand. He's loud mouth. So I fell to ground zero. So how to change that culture? How to change that mindset? I have to educate them.
Yes.
So I said, okay. After the thought process, Paul, you're going to be speaking in the next conference. This was maybe January, February time frame. And those days, IMC was happening in highway control that time. A little bit new people was in August. Atlanta, 1996. I still remember that. So next 6 months, I worked with Paul, my boss, prepare his talk, what we are doing, our whole reliability program we kind of build on skeleton, kind of what we are doing, what's our vision is. Think about vision. If you remember in the 90s, Six Sigma was the key thing. The Motorola was, GE was applying Six Sigma. Going to this Motorola plant in Chicago area, it was hassle. You had to be in advance, 6 months to 2 years in advance, make a reservation, and it's going to cost you $10,000 to $50,000. How many people you want to take it there? I mean, it was something, but Six Sigma was everywhere. So we said, Paul and some of us had a meeting. I said, what we want to do, what our vision is. So we came up a graphic where buses are lined up to see our ADC, our maintenance reliability program. And that's what our picture was. So this was part of his talk, that we have a vision that after 5 or 10 years, people will be lined up to see our plants, how good we are in our maintenance reliability area. Okay. So we put this picture together. We put this was a graphic we put together. I still have that. In fact, I show one of my talk education. I teach. In fact, maybe in my book also, I'm not sure. There. So point was, we prepared his talk. He worked on. He's a very smart guy. I mean, smart Paul, very smart guy. So he went there. We went there to Atlanta. Dick and a few other guys. Great. He gave a great
But
presentation.
you weren't allowed to take Dick anywhere.
No, again, again, this was kind of thing. So that night, we had again those days IMC had a dinner. Those days were 150, 200 people, small group. So we gave a dinner. A guy from Boeing, Wichita. There was a guy from International Paper. There was a guy from Saturn, which was in our Tennessee area. I knew the guy, and there were, I think, Eastman Chemical and a couple other guys. We were all having a dinner. They started talking. Best thing came out of that dinner was, hey, what you doing? What you doing is the same thing. We are doing same thing. We need to talk regular basis. So as a de facto, I became an organizer, coordinator for this benchmarking, unofficial benchmarking.
Yeah.
So next 2 years, we were making trips to Eastman Kodak. I mean Eastman Chemical, that time Eastman Chemical Company. We were going to Saturn. We went to our first trip was a Boeing. We learned a lot there, Boeing, how they were doing PDM program, how they have centralized their group and learned. And when we came back, in fact, we learned there and we centralized our group there. So it was a lot of learning over the next 2 years. As we learn, now Dick my, and Paul, they work together. Believe it or not, they work together. And in next 2 years, we were given $5 million for next 4 or 5 years to develop our RCM program, our PDM program, all this. And those guys who were negative became much more positive. Again, it's education, what I learned is education, teaching, learning, working with them. So that's next. I mean, Dick and Paul were able to justify to their colonel. I remember Colonel Pear. Still, he later on he joined. I joined our Jacobs later on. But that, I mean, he still talk about how we did it. It was kind of a. So that next 3, 4, 5 years was great for us. We got training money. You won't believe. Usually, training money is about 50, 60 hours. The good money is about 80, 90 hours per person per year. I was able to get 120 hours per person for next 2, 3 years to educate my guys at the floor level, at the operator level, engineers level, all the level. And that was kind of a learning great accomplishment to speak. We were able to, we did again, RCM. The way we did is unique way. We selected, we had about 50 equipment which we were going to systems to speak. So we selected, although Max Smith was my friend, but we selected four consultants. Max Smith, one from LCE, one was independent guy, one from California, somebody who has done so on. Four guys. And we put together a requirements. Hey, each one we gave them two systems, said do it your way. But it should be a repeatable process because eventually we want to do it, not you. And results came back. We looked those things and finally decided based on that, Max Smith process was much, much better process. We adopted that. In fact, we asked Max Smith to put a training program together for our guys as well as our contractor because we couldn't do all of them. So we said one support, so we did. So that was a kind of a great way of implementing RCM. And so that's, again, there's a lot of stories that we have where culture and leadership plays a great role in my learning that some more things people, when I feel happy was the directors who were retiring. They said, Ramesh, wish we would have listened to you 10 years ago. You know, hey, I was so happy there. And again, I thought I'll last 5 years. I retired in 2016 there after 34 years. And then I went to corporate office, spent another 4 5 years. But again, it's a lot of learning there, a lot of culture, leadership, training, educating. In fact, I worked with the union too, and working with the union because that time I was involved in a self this team business, teaming. So I got involved with the union, got them. There's another story about Dick. You're talking, my good friend. So I was going to be awarded with a IE fellowship, which once you become certain thing, they approved I become a fellow of IE. So this was going to be done in Banff, Canada. Dick has to approve because being a contractor. So he didn't know he approved it. Then when I came back, then Dick realized where I got. He said, Ramesh, you didn't tell me you're going Banff. I said, you do it. He said, wish I gone with you. Banff is supposed to be a good place in Canada, but again, hey. So again, I build a relationship. That's another thing is you have to build a relationship with the people. You have to be honest with them. Sometimes, yes, we do mistakes. We learn from those mistakes. And that's what we have to do. Anytime you're working in new technology, always there's a risk involved. Due to culture. Sometimes it's going to work. We bought many of these shining toys. One of the toy was this handheld devices. We got it, and somehow we forgot by error or didn't have money to train our people. We did not prepare our people to accept that new technology. And those instruments were sitting on the shelf for a couple of 2, 3, 4 years. By the time we started learning, they were obsolete. So you have to learn some of things. Hey, and that's what nowadays when I talk, I say, hey, make sure you prepare your people for new technology. These shining toys are great because some of your people may not understand or they don't have knowledge, you have to create that teaching, training, educate them before we bring the technology. So well, those 10, those 34 years of very, very interesting place. And again, many of my friends have been to our place, Terry Highland and a few others. They were uh, Ron Moore. All those people have come to my place. I call them, and they were good friends. They'll come and talk to my management. And eventually, again, one of my role was anytime we have a new colonel coming, which was my counterpart of my boss, directors, I have to take him to conference in this places, start educating him how this place is not a regular base. It's a industrial place. One time, just on education, there was another thing. Some of Air Force or Army or something, they're the lowest grade. They recruit people from high school level. So their procedure are much more detailed level. So one of the comment made by one of my Air Force counterpart, my boss, hey, your procedures are very, very low level. Yes, that's the reason. Our people is the industrial place, their knowledge level is high. So our procedures are not at this level, they are a little bit higher level. So there's a differences. So you have to, again, any place you go, you look, review what environment you are living with and make those changes as needed. So those are kind of learning. Every time you do something, you learn something and keep applying those. Well, those 34, 5 years, and then you twisted my arm after I graduated. So I'm here with my great company. I really enjoying it. You gave me a free hand, and I'm doing my best. And
Well,
still working.
I love hearing that, Ramesh, and we are incredibly honored to have you as part of our company. I so many things to unpack there. The biggest one for me is when you evolve a culture or go through any change management solution, they all start with awareness, right?
Yes,
So
that's right.
folks need to be aware, and then they have to gain understanding. And both of those phases of change management require communication, relationship building, and educating. And it's not until you get to, I, you know, so it's let me just make sure I get it all clear. It's awareness, understanding, and then buy-in, and then ownership, right?
That's
And,
right.
and so it's not until you get to buy-in that you have to give people
Well,
experiences. Up till that point, it's communicate and educate. And without that, it's impossible to go
well,
through a
you have to
change curve. So
again. It's a change management. You have to create a vision. What's in for me?
that's right.
If I want to bring something new technology, new process, something, I have to convince you that new thing is going to help you make your job safer and better and quicker.
Yes.
If it's not, they're going to go back to their old habits. So that's again is a like when we created, installed, not created, installed new CMMS system. Although not everybody was happy, but we had to create a awareness training for all. Then we had to buy role, in general, and then we had documentation so people. So there's a lot involved. It's not just a CMMS. Hey, come on, tomorrow we're going to new system. We have to make people aware from all the way to anybody. See, in our case, when we start implemented CMMS, everybody, even your work order will be written by anybody. Procurement will be done by through that, and is HR will do time saving through that, timekeeping, all those kind of things were done as part of that system.
Right.
So everybody, almost everyone in the company, corporate there was, I mean, was involved or was using that system, and you had to train everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they are so ingrained of changing new systems it becomes very, very expensive because you have to train all those people again. That's negative side, but positive, yes, you have to do those things.
I also think there's a phase of evolution in our industry where the CMMS was so new that we just had to get people used to even using an
That's right.
electronic system. So the learning curve was much steeper than maybe the generation that's coming through now.
That's right.
Now they just need to, I mean, they understand user interface, they understand, navigation. So you don't necessarily have to have
Yeah,
all those
but
pieces
again, they
today, but
have
you
a different
still have
issues.
to,
Yeah,
yeah,
they have
have,
different issues.
we have to teach them how to fix a sandwich. So
Yeah, that's right.
let alone
That's right. Yeah. So it's
how to go to the storeroom to get the welds.
yes. That, well,
Awesome. I love it. So are we gonna? So I'd like to do one more episode where I just kind of ping you on some
sure.
questions about your work experience, and maybe we'll talk about what you do now with Reliability X. So if you're okay with that, I'd love to do just one more, maybe even a short episode,
No
and
problem.
we'll
Let's do
wrap up
that.
this
So kind of wrapping
series.
up, and then what I'm doing now is kind of a. Let's
All right,
talk about
love it, love it, absolutely love it. So, thank you so much for joining us, Ramesh.
no problem. It's my pleasure discussing, talking my experience too,
I love
so
it.
I can share.
I love it. Okay, so for Ramesh Gulati, I'm George Williams. Go make tomorrow better than today.